So good to see you. Welcome to the On Demand. What we stream online is called Shanda On Demand. Now it's Shanda and Ash On Demand. Shanda and Ash on Demand.
Ash on Demand. Let's go.
Shanda and Ash On Demand. And so I asked my husband here to come and train around sales and around how do you build a salesperson into your business. And I just want to share something with you real quick. I'll move this. I got dog beds. Yeah, I'm trying to be a better doggy mommy and have my dog sit with me. So
we didn't kick her out of the way, just her bed.
So if you imagine right now that you could make 2 sales in a month. I'm just making this up. Well, that 2 sales in a month in your business, I don't know what that's worth for you. You do, right? What is 2 sales worth for you? Right? And just kind of get that inside your mind. Now, if you had 3 people, right? If you had 3 people who their entire job was to go out there and be an ambassador for your work, and you paid them a percentage of whatever it is that they sold, right? And Ash will play around with all of this for you guys. But when I started my business, I gave a 20% commission because I didn't have many leads and my people had to really work hard. Does that make sense? Now it's a different story. So we pay 15% now. Okay, makes sense? And if I do a live event, we'll pay 10%. Just to give you some framework. And honestly, you get to pick your numbers and what's important to you. But what I want you to see is if you enroll 2 people a month and you had 3 people, they will enroll more than 2 people a month because that's their sole focus. Does that make sense, you guys? So pretend that they can enroll 5 each. That means you've got 15 new enrollments versus 2 if you keep holding this role. So I only wanted to share that with you because who feels like maybe when Ash trains today, you might feel like you're not ready to hire a salesperson, or you don't know how to hire a salesperson, or you don't, I often hear like, I don't feel ready. And honestly, the biggest regret I have is that I didn't hire at least 2 salespeople in the first 90 days of being in business. The minute you have a concept of what you do, right? Like a concept, like this is what I do and this is what I provide for people, product, service, whatever. That is the time to move yourself out of that role and put yourself in a position where you have salespeople. Do you guys see what I'm saying? Anybody start getting some vision? So you're gonna have to manage your mind, write down, manage your mind right now. And you need to coach yourself to success. Because if you keep telling yourself you're not ready, your life disappears. Last year went like this. This year's gonna go like this. Right? We're going to be in the summer before we know it. So I'm going to encourage you to lean in. And Ash, what is the framework you're going to go through today?
Well, I'm going through the process. I've actually covered a little bit of what I was going to talk about. I was going to talk about when you're ready for a salesperson. So I'm going to cover that a little bit more, go a little deeper in that. Okay. And then we're going to go right into how do you identify a salesperson? How do you identify the right role, responsibilities, and then recruit them and then onboard them in so that they come in feeling prepared versus most of the time, I think people hire people not prematurely. They're ready to hire people because their demand is so high. But then what they do is they throw them in the sales team and go, oh, they're not the right person. So what I want to help you do today is not be in a conversation to the wrong person, but be in a conversation of hey, I'm preparing them for success.
Yeah, and you might, so something that I heard you say, like, throw somebody in because the demand is so high. So some of you guys, it might be a demand's high, and some of you guys, it might be because you suck at sales. and if you keep staying in that role, the company's not moving.
That's right.
Do you know what I mean? Like, it's like you want to stay in your lane, do your thing, and it's not moving. There's people who may be way better than you out there that really you could be partnering with. Essentially, when you're giving a percentage of the sale to someone, it means you're partnering with somebody, right? Like you get further in partnership. The third reason why somebody might do this is because they want to grow faster, right? Like they want leverage. They want to grow faster. So either you suck at sales and it's time for you to give it up, or you want to grow faster and it's like, it's time for you to have people around you that you feel supported so you can run faster, or you have a high demand and honestly, you know, you're losing money because you have nobody to catch, right? Like to be able to catch the lead source. So who are you right now? Go in the chat and let us know. Are you someone who wants to grow faster? Do you suck at sales, right? Put like suck at sales. Be honest about that. There's nothing wrong with that. Suck at sales, you want to grow fast, or too many leads, right? Like, you know that you're losing some cash because there's some leads sitting around that are just not getting tended to. Okay. Sound good. Awesome. Okay. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to pass this over to F so that he can start training you guys on social media. If you could share this live, and let's help as many people as we can get to the other side of poverty and get into purpose, prosperity, and really doing what it is that we're made to do, get in our own lane. Okay, can you guys welcome Ash? Say welcome, Ash!
Well, all right, great to be welcome. I can press this right to go to
Yeah.
great view because I like to see everybody. Okay, great.
Well, if you do that, it's going to do that on social media.
Oh, it will. Okay.
So you're gonna, it's better if you go like that.
Okay, fantastic. Okay, hi everybody, great to be with you all. You know, as Shanta said, like, it's never too early to bring on someone else to support the business, and you could do it with commission only. So it's not about just going out and hiring someone for $150,000 to come in and do your sales. You could start with just doing a commission only process. And if someone's confident that with your lead source, they could build a business around it, then you're ready to rock and roll. You can start building around them. In fact, I would say that you may not even want someone full-time right at the get-go. You can start part-time and slowly move them to full-time. Even if your lead flow is like, let's say you get 3 leads a week, you can actually set a day that is a sales day for you and the person you're bringing on board, and give them a lead flow for that day, and then measure the results of that. Does that make sense? So you can actually just have, like, Wednesdays is your, let's say we had a day, we called it Giving Wednesday, I think is what we called it, Giving Wednesday. And that was the day that we were driving traffic to get scheduled calls. And that day was a sales day, and brought someone in to, you know, we had a team at the time, brought a team over, and they would come to the house, and I'd work with them to make sure that they move the sales forward. Now, how do you find the right person? Because I think the number one challenge a lot of entrepreneurs face is like, I'm not ready for it. And it's a false reality. It's not real that you're not ready for it. It's just that you're scared to hire the person. If I was really honest about the conversations that people have with themselves, it's like, am I ready to hire the right person? Do I have enough traffic for them? Can I take care of them? Can I afford them? Let me see, what are some other conversations that come in? Oh my gosh, salespeople are expensive. Can I manage them? I'm not good at doing it myself. How would I manage them? How would I hire them? Where did they come from? Or you may have other conversations like that. So if you're in one of those conversations, just put it behind you, because you're normal. It's a normal conversation to have that, to feel you're not ready, you're not prepared, you're not launched yet, you haven't done it yet. All that's totally normal. So how do you find the right person? How do you create the description? How do you go out in the world and actually recruit that person in? Well, number one, most of you have at least probably sold your own product or services once or twice in the last 6 months, haven't you? How many of you have done that once or twice in the last 6 months? Well, if you're in business or getting established, you probably have a process down. And if you're part of our community in Mentor Me Live, you definitely have a process down, because you've already seen it in our videos, or you've worked with me one-on-one on the money weeks that we have. So you have an understanding of a enrollment process in this industry or your industry. And so what I would do is, once you have that process down, it's about transferring that knowledge forward to the next person. So a great place I have found that a lot of entrepreneurs find a salesperson is existing customers. Someone that has had tremendous success working with you, they're passionate about your business, they love your business, and they want to be in contribution to what you're up to, and it's just kind of works out. So that's one way, through relationships. And there are many other ways. But before we go there, you got to have your process down. You got to know what your culture is. You got to know who that person is. Identify basically the role of what that person is going to represent. It's going to be full-time, part-time, inside sales job, outside sales job, inbound sales work, or outbound sales work. Okay. So you got to identify what that role is. And it could be a combination of all of what I shared. So you want to identify what that role is. Okay. The second thing you want to look at is cultural. And that really comes down to key characteristics, key traits that you're looking for. So at Hardcore, one of the things that we look for is we want heart-centered givers. Okay. We're looking for people that are wanting to be in contribution to the business, to the people, of course, that we serve. And so we look for that person that could really connect heart to heart with somebody. We look for that person that's not judgmental or critical. They're not like, this person doesn't have any experience and it's not a fit, because we serve so many people that are beginner entrepreneurs, okay, as well as those that are advanced, doing 7 figures plus. So what I want to say is, you want to really look at some of the key characteristics that you're looking for in that person. And from those two, you can now create a job description, what the job requires. And I would say you want to be really blunt about your culture. One of the most memorable ads I've seen was Grant Cardone during COVID saying, do you remember exactly what he said in his headline? Yeah, he said, if you don't want to get vaccinated, we will hire you. Bold. And what that really did is says, in the world, like, here's our culture. We're not just sheep. Okay. And yeah, and it had him really catapult during that time. And I think that's really important for you to be bold with your company, your brand, what you represent, and actually seek people that are like-minded, that fit that culture. Because if you're not doing that, you're just trying to hopefully hire someone, you're attracting likely the wrong person, and you're going to be reporting to them versus them reporting to you and building results for you. And so I think it's really important that as you're building out your job description, really connecting to not just the responsibilities, not just the role, but also the key traits and cultural connection that you're looking for. It's really important to do that. And I will say here at Hardcore, like, one of the things I share with our team and the department is, like, we're always hiring. And I think that that's really important as an entrepreneur, as you're building, is to always be in a state of we're always hiring. Because, as you're building, it takes time for it to settle out, to get the right people in the right places. And it's really important that you continue hiring so that you can constantly find that fit that helps you build out. So the job description, so roles, responsibilities, and you want to include your culture as you're describing the roles and responsibilities. See, and when I'm looking at, the job description, I'm looking at, I really want the people to be like, absolutely, I'm not going to go for that role, or absolutely, I want this job. You would think, like, you're putting out an ad to attract people, right? Well, sometimes I'm looking to attract the ideal candidate, not just any candidate. I'm not looking to sell someone to work for me. I'm looking for the ideal candidate that's driven. So at Hardcore, what we're looking for is people that want to serve with their heart, and also are committed to doing the work, and are responsible, and are not looking for us to solve the problems. They're looking at, I can be resourceful with all the resources inside the company and all that Shanda does on the front end, and I will make that work. I'm going to go all the way. I'm going to go for this uncapped potential. Okay. So we're looking for that ideal candidate that has the hustle, the urgency, the commitment, the responsibility. Are you seeing some of the key traits that we're looking for? The responsibility, the drive to keep up with Shanda. We're not looking for the person that says, I want to come in from 9 to 5 and I'm done on Saturday, Sunday. No, we're looking for the person when we do a challenge from like Monday through Friday, that Saturday to Sunday, they're hungry to go out and serve people, be with people, to connect with people, to serve people, to coach and mentor them, and drive them to be successful. So those are the type of people we're looking for. And so you want to look at what are the key traits you must have so that your business and your service in the world becomes successful. So you're always thinking about your end user, your customer that you're attracting, and how will they be served best by every single person you bring on your team. Now, what are some effective recruitment campaigns? And I shared one of them with you. One of them is to start with, I personally love to start with my immediate circle. I mean, that's where I start, and then I branch out of that immediate circle. I look at people that I'm in relationship with that there is a need, a desire, or want that they have professionally, and is it a fit for what I'm looking to build? And I love what Shanda did when she started her business, and I think this is a great model to follow as a start. And I have time to cover this, and I want to really cover this piece, and that is, when Shanda started, she got her right-hand person as to build out with. If you've ever been exposed to Jean is a direct extension of Shanda and representation of Shanda's philosophy. Okay. And so when I look at that and I go, wow, the foresight that she had to hire the perfect person at the right time to build around. And Jean, sometimes I hear Jean's language in her emails and text messages and her in front of our audience. And I go, wow, it is truly an extension of Shanda. She just went right into it. And so you want to hire someone that is a direct extension of you. And those people are already around you. I want you to hear me right now. You already have your first salesperson already in your immediate circle.
Whether you're in network marketing, coaching, or whatever.
Exactly. Whether you're in network marketing, coaching, selling vending machines, whatever it is for you, I want you to know that there is someone already in your circle. And so right now, what I'd love you to do is jot down the 3 to 5 names that may have just popped in your head. That's where you want to start. That's where you want to start. And don't go sell them an idea, because before you go sell them an idea, you want to enroll them in the concept. So it's about asking questions. But first start with asking yourself the key questions. If I was to bring them on right now, what would their compensation plan look like? So write that down. The first step in building this, you want to create that compensation plan. What would it look like? What would be a win-win? For some of you, you're ready to say, hey, you know what? I have about 3 sales calls a week. If they close 1 a week out of the 3, so you want to look at your close ratio. If they close 1 a week, okay, and give them grace to build up to be where you are, right? They're not going to come in and be exactly where you are after a year of being in business. So give them a little grace. So you want to kind of set a vision of where they'll be in close ratio, but establish a minimum standard to get someone started and ramped up. So number one, you want to look at what would that compensation look like? And by the way, part of that should be like, what's the timeline they will need to ramp up? Is it 90 days? Is it 120 days? Is it 3 months? Is it 6 months? Is it a year? What would that ramp up look like? So you can have a standard. So when someone comes on board, you know what path you're following. What's that? So our standard is I believe in a 30, 60, 90-day rule. I believe in the first 30 days, someone's going to come in, they're going to learn. In the first 60 days, they're going to start creating some results. And in the 90 days, they're establishing performance. So what does that look like? Well, I think within the first 30 days, they should have 1 to 2 enrollments. In the second 30 days, they should be in a pattern where that is starting to normalize. And by the 3rd month, they should be in a place where they're performing 2 enrollments a week minimum. So our minimum standard would be that. And that's depending, of course, on yours. What is your traffic source like? How many leads are you bringing on? What's your close ratio today? Where you feel confident in establishing a 30, 60, 90 day or 120 or plus? What does that get to look like for you? Okay. So once you have that established, you can start now looking for the conversation. So when you have your traits, your job description, roles, responsibilities, so you know what a day should look like, what a week should look like, what a month should look like, what a quarter should look like, and what a year needs to look like, you can now back in. Okay. You can now back in the compensation plan for the year. So once you have that in place, you can now go out and start having this conversation around what are they looking for their career? Where are they at? What would the ideal job look like? And what I do is I ask those questions versus give a lot of answers. Because sometimes people just are looking for something to fill a void. And so they'll say yes to you, but they won't be a fit. So I like to ask a lot of questions of them to see if this could be a fit. Then I can share the opportunity. And so that's when I start with my immediate circle. Now, if you were to go out, so from immediate circle, you go to your client base. From your client base, you go exterior. So if you're really looking to do a job posting, whether you go to a university to do a job posting or Indeed to do a job posting or LinkedIn, and there's a lot of recruitment sites out there in the world, you could even get a recruiter. When you go out in the world to start looking for people, I like to follow a process to quickly go through candidates, because you're going to find yourself going to get flooded with candidates in the world. So how do you handle when you get flooded with candidates in the world? Well, the way I handle that is I have a process, and I go through a 1-week process. So I'm not sitting there reading every single job posting. Day one, when I'm ready to interview people, I set times 3 times during day one, Monday, to basically come on and share a little bit about the culture, a little bit about the key traits, the responsibilities, and what this role and responsibility really looks like, what performance looks like.
I'm trying to give them some belief here real
Okay,
quick.
yes, go ahead.
Hey, guys, it doesn't matter who in our company we put in the role to go recruit and place an ad on LinkedIn. We get inundated, and so will you. Do you know what I mean? Like, so many of you guys are like, I just know, because we've taught this to our clients so many times. It's like, some people will be like, I don't know where to find good salespeople. It's no different than finding people for your network marketing company or selling your coaching company or build a real estate team. Whatever industry you're in, it's just a product or a service that you're building a network around you that is good at what they do. Does that make sense? But when you place an ad on LinkedIn, the more you can be honest about the boldness of the characteristics you're looking for. Like, I cannot work with people who need micromanaging. You know what I mean? Like, it's not, it doesn't work for me. Like, I'm like, just figure it out. Do you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't work for me. So now we have people that, like, you know, Jess that trains and things like that. And there can be a little bit more development, but you have to pay attention to what you're good at and what you're not good at and what the chemistry, like, there's certain people and characteristics. You guys write down the characteristics right now, people that you get along with, because you better build some salespeople around you that you get along with, right? Because otherwise it becomes this drag.
100%. And
So-
I want to add to that,
Yeah.
like, because
I just wanted to know,
I want-
they could have 100 leads for application on
100%,
LinkedIn
100%.
in literally by the time you wake up tomorrow morning.
Yeah, and I want you can
That's exciting.
and by the way, you will have that. You will have that, because there's a world of people out there that are looking for opportunities, and to be honest, candid, in today's world, culture has become much more important to people than actually money. So they rather be in the right environment, in other words, working with the right person for a cause they believe in, than it is about just money, especially with the new era. And I do want to also say this. Some of you, there's this like polarity that I've seen with hiring practices, either with sales managers I've had in the past or today, and that is this. One polarity is like, I need to like them, and they need to like me to work well together. Okay. And then the other one is, I need them to have the skill set. And I want to tell you that I've had, in both cases, people that have worked and have not worked. So your perception alone is not going to be enough. Your judgment alone is not enough. It's about really doing the diligence to ensure that it could be a fit. So let me give you an example. I hired one of our nannies who became one of our best salespeople, and who had no experience in sales, who didn't even know if they wanted to be in sales. And I had this idea that they may not want to be in sales ever. Yet she joined our team and she crushed it. She became one of the best salespeople on our team. She was a client nanny, and then, one of our most incredible coaches. And why I'm sharing that with you is because if I went based on my perception and understanding of what a great salesperson needs to be, I probably would have paid someone $150,000, hired someone with a lot of knowledge, expertise, and ability of selling, but may have not created the results that Kate did. And by the way, Kate has moved on and created an extraordinary career in sales because of her experience here. So it was a win-win-win. It was a win for Kate. It was a win for us at Hardcore and our clients. And most importantly, our clients. It was a win for our clients because they got such a close insight with Kate into how we do business. So I want you to kill the belief that they have to be, quote unquote, perfectly qualified, and kill the belief that I have to like them or they have to be like me so that they can win. There's always a way to make it win, and that is the transfer of knowledge, and which I want to go into in the next stage. So once you do your interviewing process, let me cover that for a moment. I have this 5-day process, which is day one. I'm going to share with everyone candidly Here's the role. Here's what it pays. Here's what our potential payment is. Here's what it will look like over your ramp up period. And here's what the expectations are. And I'm really, really clear with them up front. I will tell them that there'll be days that you want to have a weekend, but yet we have a planned challenge and you're going to have to work through that. I'm super clear with them on every step of the journey. And I actually look for resistant points of previous salespeople and bring them up intentionally to have them choose out. So my first step is to say, don't join my team. My intention is to say, don't be part of this. This is going to be rough and tough. It's hard work, and here's what it's going to look like. And by the way, Shanda is going to be Shanda because she has a person of as a thought leader, she as a thought leader is going to express her opinions, and you may not be aligned with them. Can you be part of this team? You have to ask yourself that question. And by the way, on day 2, I'm going to cover a little bit more about the company, the roles, the responsibility, go deeper in that and answer some of your questions. So on day 2, I'm answering questions that they may have from me. I'm not expressing anything. I'm not asking them questions. So on day 2, I am actually having them ask me questions to get clarity to, again, to be a yes or a no for day 3. And so by the time we get to day 3, and by the way, let me just be really clear about that. On day 2, I'm listening to who's asking the questions, who's asking first, who's standing out, who through their questions may be a fit culturally, may be a fit based on the roles and responsibility, the jobs, etc. So on day 2, I'm letting them ask the questions, but I'm listening very carefully to who they are and how they're asking. In fact, I have 2 to 3 other people observing so they can give me feedback on the individuals that ask questions. And guess what else I'm paying attention? Were they on time? Were they on camera? Were they in contribution? So I'm not listening just to the questions they're asking. I'm just listening to how they're in contribution with other people. Are they giving them the same attention that they would expect? So I'm looking at their character more than their qualifications or questions. Now, some of you are going to interview with me and you're going to pull it off really well. Now, on day 3, that's when I'm going to start asking questions. And I do a group style interview. So I break them up into groups. So I'll do a full day in groups of 4 to 6 in a pod style. And in those groups of 4 to 6, I'm going to be asking questions, and I'm looking again for, have they done this in the past? What's their income requirements? Where are they at currently? What's the ramp up period they can go through if they're commission only? And what does that look like? So I'm asking really specific questions to be able to get a deeper understanding of, is this a fit based on what I understand from them and their questions, based on where they come from, and how they're responding to the questions I'm asking. And based on that, I will create a one-on-one meeting for the following day. Okay. And in that one-on-one meeting, I'm really connecting to them individually based on the responses and to get clarity. And upon that clarity, I go into the hiring stage, which is the final day. So that's kind of how I go through the process from the very beginning of, hey, I have a role that I get to fill, and to all the way to the space of actually fulfilling the role of putting someone in place as my sales rep or coach. But the most critical step is the next step. I'm going to say that again. The most critical step is the next step. See, a lot of people think it is just the hiring. I've hired amazing people in my career, and I've failed at the next step. And what that next critical step is this: onboarding. You got to onboard them, and you got to coach them every single day and week, and work with them. So who's excited about coaching, mentoring, and creating sales teams that multiply your business rapidly? Who's excited? Say me in the chat. And for those of you that are, of course, in our getgoodcoaching.com. Is that what the link is? Is that what, those of you that are in getgoodcoaching.com, I'm going to end our call here. And I'm going to start with everyone that is in getgoodcoaching.com. And I'm going to share with you, what does that look like? What does it look like to mentor, coach week by week, monthly, and quarterly? What are quality? What are the things that you must transfer so you create a successful organization? So I'll be going transitioning to that group and saying goodbye to all of you. Thank you for joining us.
Give a quick summary.
And Shanna's saying, give a quick summary. Let me give you a quick summary. As you're building out, as you can build out, don't be afraid to build. Number one, don't be afraid to build. Don't ever wait for the right time. You got to start the process. You may fail at it once or twice. That's okay. That's part of the process. Number two, get clear on the role. Get really clear on the role, and then backtrack a great compensation plan that you're going to create for the ideal candidate or candidates. And number three, have it be, once you're clear on the right role, you must look for the key traits that your organization, your community, your customers must have. And so once you have the key traits, you create a job description with roles, responsibilities, with the culture of those key traits that you incorporated. Then you want to create an effective recruitment plan. I said, you always start, you go inside out. One of the examples I gave you was Jean. Jean came as a customer. Kate, because was our nanny, and young, yet she crushed it. So start inside out. You never know, maybe a family member that could support. Then so that's an effective, then you can go to the masses. Have a great interview process. I shared with you my 5-day interview process. Create yours from that. I've found that to be the most effective because it weeds out the people that are not really interested. And I don't have to read every single resume. And to be candid, the best resume today is video today. And then when you hire them, don't miss the final step, which is onboarding them, meaning transfer the knowledge of the business. And of course, I'm going to cover that with everybody else on goodcoaching.com. So I'm going to say goodbye to all of you. And by the way, if you want the recording of the goodcoaching.com today, getgoodcoaching.com. If you want the recording of today's call on establishing the day-to-day on training, developing, or the onboarding process, you want to go to getgoodcoaching.com and you will get a recording of today's, or you can join us on that call right now. So I'm going to say goodbye to all of you. Shanda's going to come say goodbye.
Yeah, guys, tomorrow, first of all, don't listen to that and not do that process, right? At least give it a try. You don't have to hire anybody if you want, but when you give it a try, you're going to get more competent at it. And if you're like, okay, this is getting into my bandwidth, who needs to hire somebody this year, right? Who needs to hire somebody this year? Okay, 1, 2, 3, whatever. So why not just do it now? Like if you were a 1% private client of mine, I would rather you just do it now. Why? Because it's going to speed up your step. And we're going to be in the summer before we know it. Do you know what I mean? It literally, I'll never forget Christine saying to me, she goes, oh my gosh, when I hired, because she went and hired 5 salespeople. And she goes, she was a girl that like vacationed all the time. Yeah. And so she just felt like she had space. When she had 5 people she had to feed leads to, she felt like she needed to work. And for the first time, it probably really actually showed up because it helped her be accountable. Okay, you get what I'm saying? So I would recommend that you just do it now. Secondly, tomorrow I'm going to talk about style flex selling. And that is that a lot of people don't realize that there are 4 main money blocks that are causing entrepreneurs to literally leave money on the table. And I almost guarantee you at least have 2, if not 3. Most of you do not have all 4. Some of you do, but most of you have 2, if not 3. And when you really kind of dive into what I'm going to talk about tomorrow, it's going to help. We're going to end the week strong on that. And then next week, we're going to do 5 days of revenue generating. So if you want, Ash is going, we're going to shut off the live now. You guys on getgoodcoaching.com, he's going to now show you how to lead an effective sales call, right? Because once you bring them on and you bring them in, he already said he wants you to meet with them every day, right? And for a lot of people, that's an ineffective meeting. And so it just feels like noise. It feels like there's too much on your calendar. It feels like you got to, and believe it, like there are people that I don't do meetings with in my company because the meeting is not effective. I don't say that to them, but I'm in my head finding a way of how do I get that meeting effective, because it's not effective. They might think they're effective, but it's not effective, right? And so I either have to sit down and craft the meeting and the agenda and the framework and give it to them and say, do a meeting like this with me, because that's what I want to hear from you. or I have to have somebody who knows how to craft the meeting. So he's going to show getgoodcoaching.com. If you're watching us on social media, you're not on the Zoom with us, go to getgoodcoaching.com, because even it's $30 a month. You can quit anytime. But I'm going to tell you, like, even just getting what he's going to lay out, for some of you guys who are going to hire a salesperson, that's gold for you. Do you guys see what I'm saying? Like, if you don't know how to lead an effective meeting, your salespeople are not going to stay. Right? If you don't know how to lead an effective daily meeting with them, you're going to swing spaghetti up against the wall. But worst of all, you're going to feel like they failed you. And sometimes they do fail you, but there are many times that you never set them up to win. And that's kind of what he was saying at the very beginning. And through lots of trial and error, and like him doing a lot of building coaching teams, or not coaching teams, sales teams. I have built sales teams inside of this organization. I've built them inside of network marketing. I built them inside of the nightclub industry. I had my doormen, my security guards, my cocktail waitresses, my bartenders, and my bussers were all my sales team. And I sent them to the casino floor. So I had to enroll them to operate like that. So like, I know how to effectively do it. Where I broke down is handing it to somebody else in my company to effectively do it, because like, I feel like some of this stuff is intuitive. You guys do this too, right? Like Esteban, there's things you do in fitness that you just think are intuitive and you're not teaching them. And what happens is there's a blind spot there, and there's a pattern of people not making it or making it in a certain area. Like if everybody's humble, there is always a next level for all of us. Do you know what I mean? Whenever I add to my programs, it's because I'm looking at it, not going, well, my clients are like this. It's like, no, there's a next level they don't see. I need to start speaking into it so they see it, right? Which last year it was end of day income, which some still refuse to do, which is wild to me. Do you know what I mean? Like, and so I'll just keep talking it. So sales teams, I'm bullish on you guys building this year, even if you're not ready, because it will get you more accountable in your business and you will do better. That's not an income claim, but it is some of you guys need some accountability. So everybody on social media, we love you. And Ash is going to now work with the getgoodcoaching.com group. Bye, everybody on social. Love you. See you tomorrow.